Smart contractors hire specialized team. Rank high on Google, hook better leads. Hookagency.com.
Yo, what up? Hey, this isn't a clickbait video. This is actually a crazy huge leak for Google's algorithm, and we're gonna walk you through it. Apparently, this happened on Friday. A whistleblower type person who's worked with Google has broken down essentially like a repository of APIs that is used in Google's algorithm. And the first two people that he gave it to were SEOs, Mike King and former SEO Rand Fishkin, who is, a big figurehead in the industry. He used to be like the main SEO that everyone would talk about and think about as kind of an influencer in SEO. Anyways, so we're going to go through these secrets from the algorithm, and I'm going to pull up these articles, and I'm going to talk through the APIs and stuff like that. I think, Mike makes a couple really good caveats here that there's just because we can see what the APIs are in Google's algorithm, we don't know necessarily how these things are weighted. And this is a very quick, this is this past weekend. So this is very quick analysis and things like that. And we're all going to be breaking this down for the next month. And I think it's interesting. There's 14,000 ranking features that they're talking about here. And a lot of them, this is the most interesting part, go against what Google has stated publicly about their algorithm. So like there's some things that are very blatantly different than what they're saying. And what I've always said is that, I'll just quickly note this, is like I've always said SEO is an experimentation thing. And when I've heard people like John Mueller talk, who is one of the main kind of people speaking for how Google ranks things at conferences and stuff like that, I've always said, I don't know if he knows. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he doesn't really know what their ranking system is, because they have a way of publicly stating things, and then the actual algorithm contradicts those things a lot. So that's what we're seeing here in this dump. And we're going to go through a few of those very quickly. One, they've said that they don't have anything like domain authority, which they 100% do. They have a site authority quality signal, and they compute it and it's called site authority. They say that they don't use clicks for rankings. And I think there's a reason why they're telling these lies. I'm not going to put it in quotes. These are lies. There's the reason that they're telling these lies is because they don't want everyone to be trying to manipulate the search algorithm all the time. But they're saying they don't use clicks for rankings. And there was a recent DOJ suit or trial that they talk about glue and nav boost, meaning when they're basically they're trying to understand how people are clicking through to things and how they're staying on websites. And they had a patent back in 2007 that was a time-based patent, which indicates how click logs can be used to change results. So they've been studying this for a while, but they've said publicly many times, we don't use clicks for rankings. But that we found out is propaganda, which is interesting. I mean, honestly, none of these things this is probably the most surprising thing to me, that we know for a fact they have bad clicks, good clicks, longest clicks, unsquashed clicks. Now, we don't know every single exactly what these mean within all of these functions, but we know that they are tracking them, and it's factoring into the algorithm somehow. And all of the things that were leaked in this repository or depository, comment below if it's repository or depository, are apparently current. So this is current algorithm nodes, current algorithm data. Various sources have indicated NavBoost is already one of Google's strongest ranking systems. The leaked documentation specifies NavBoost by name 84 times with 5 modules featuring NavBoost in the title. There's evidence that they can contemplate its scoring on the subdomain, the root domain, and the URL level. And it indicates that they treat different levels of the site differently. Yes. They don't mention CTR, click-through rate, or dwell time by those exact words in the documentation. But in the spirit of what Rand proved, clicks on search results and measures of successful search session are included. The evidence is fairly definitive. And there can be little doubt that Google uses clicks and post-click behavior as part of its ranking algorithm. Now, how does this matter for us, like a company like ours? It means certain things were on the right track. It means that by making the website easy to navigate and focusing on user experience, that actually does matter for Google rankings. So that's, we're not just an SEO company, we're also doing websites, and the ability to make a good website actually matters. Essentially is what this would indicate. There is no sandbox. Google says that there's no sandbox. How long does it take to relieve from Google Sandbox for a new website? We always say this, is it doesn't make a ton of sense to crank on SEO right first year or two of your website, because there is essentially a sandbox, and the API repository would indicate that there is indeed a sandbox. And there's a lot of, it looks very clear that there is, for sure, according to this new leak. We don't use anything from Chrome for ranking. They do. Google's spokespeople are well-meaning, but can we trust them? I just want to note this is one of many articles that have come out already, and the 2 biggest ones are this one from iPullRank, Michael King. Thank you so much. It is interesting. I'm looking at a couple other ones here: anchor mismatch, SERP demotion, nav demotion. This one's an interesting one. Exact match domains demotion. I know that for a fact from experimentation. A lot of these things I know, we already knew. We already knew because we experiment and we don't take Google's press release stuff as fact, or what John Mueller says, the spokesperson for Google, says. We don't take it as a fact. So we're actually very interested in this, but we actually knew most of this stuff. This is the one where I would say it conflicts with our experience. Exact match domain, they have a feature to demote it, but it's still seemingly working. This is why we need to kind of like realize that some of these things may exist, but it's how much are they weighted? Because the exact match domain thing, like if you put your city plus roofing.com, even though there is something that's specifically demoting it, it still does work. Let's see. Links obviously matter. We've known that for a long time, but there's a lot of evidence in this documentation that link does matter a lot. There's things like phrase anchor spam, which would be like if you were linking to the site, and we know this too from experimentation because we've tried so many things, but if you were linking to the website over and over again with the same exact text from other websites, you would be devalued. So don't do that. And there's a ton of these incredible things that are being essentially documented now. I want to do one more here. This one's the other one from Rand Fishkin. This is his whole leak. This is all interesting and kind of like people were, he was skeptical. The claims made by the source seem extraordinary. In their early years, Google's search team recognized the need for full clickstream data, every URL visited by a browser for a large percent of web users to improve their search engine's result quality. So they realized they needed to own like I'm on Chrome right now. They needed to own this hasn't always been the case, right? We were on Firefox, we were on Safari, we were on Internet Explorer. They needed to have one of these to improve their search engine's search quality. Yeah, that's why they did it. This is crazy stuff, interesting stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to pull out the most interesting things for you guys as quickly as possible. This one's definitely interesting. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Google employed whitelists for websites that could appear high in the results for COVID-related searches. Similarly, during Democratic elections, Google employed whitelists for sites that should be shown or demoted for election-related information. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But how interesting is all that? This is new information that's coming out now that's being definitively proven. That's not, it hasn't been out before. What up, Andy? Andy Near commented, I don't always see these in live time, but I appreciate you saying what's up. If there's something specific on here that you're super interested in, Irfan Azimi is the one that leaked this. He put out the video. It's not super interesting. It's essentially him saying, I put this out because they've been dishonest. And it is time and effort, right, that we're all expending trying to dance for the Google gods. And if they're lying about how things are ordered, we're essentially wasting our hard-earned small business dollars on things that don't work or not doing things that would work, right? So that's the hard part, because obviously we don't want people to manipulate the search engine results to like infinity and make it a bad search engine. But ultimately, if people were spending time on things that didn't work and money on things that didn't work, then that would be bad. Like just reiterating, they've said click-through rate, dwell time, and other UX signals are made up myths. That's what Google said. This proves that that's not true, which is good for us since we've been testing these things and have come to our own conclusions and did not believe Google. And so what we've been doing is in line with this leak, essentially, and it's almost like vindication, because we have been, and a lot of SEOs that are a little bit more like experimental and do things based on data, not on what Google says, have probably already known most of this stuff. So I just want you guys to know that there's a lot of great SEOs out there, including Hook Agency, that's been in line with these things. Go back and watch it from the beginning if you're just joining now. This was real data that was leaked from Google Search Division. We are all looking through it now. We are learning from it now. It's APIs directly from Google search algorithm, and they are fascinating to look through. And I really appreciate you guys watching this. I hope you're having a great day. If nothing else, Conversion Design says, how many clients does your company actively manage currently? We have about 80 clients, all incredible. They are the reason we exist, and we try to work with the best home service businesses on their SEO, Google Ads, and websites. And what I think is interesting is how important website design, like essentially if these things are being leaked now and they're interesting and true, which appears to be the case, is there is a lot of indications that website design matters. UX, user experience matters. So it's honestly great to work with a company that does the SEO and works on the user experience of your website to make it better, because a lot of this indicates that there is, hey, if people are spending longer time on this website, if it's a higher quality website, that it does affect the rankings. Greg Schonhorn says, great video, just what we have been talking about here. I appreciate you, my friend. And I appreciate everyone else. If I didn't see your comments, I really appreciate you guys joining, and I hope you have an amazing day. See you guys.